What's up, party people? It's KeysDAN with RadioWhat.com, DJLittleRock.com, coming to you live and in living color from the Radio What studios. And this is my podcast, What Makes You Famous? It's an extension of the RadioWhat.com internet radio station that I've been running for quite some time. And if you need DJ services, where do you go? Where do I always send you? DJLittleRock.com. One more time, DJLittleRock.com. Check availability, get a free price quote, and maybe you can have me at your next event. You know I like to party with the people. The people need to be entertained. Let me entertain you. Are you not entertained? Speaking of entertainment, today on the program I have Emily Glazener. Oh my goodness. If you're an avid listener of the What Makes You Famous podcast, you've heard of Emily Glazener and her Red Iris Band, amongst other things. Well, we're going to talk to just her today and find out more about what's going on in her life and what's happening with Emily Glazener, the entertainer. This week's shows, I have one public show at the Rab in Conway, Arkansas, the video dance party, karaoke jam. Yeah, I said karaoke. You're the stars of the show. We got a little concert going on right there every Friday night from 8 p.m. until 12:30. And the star of that concert is you, each and every one of you. You have the chance to sing a song on stage. How about that? There's a full bar, the kitchen's open, pool tables. They got a pool tournament on Friday night. So if you want to try to make some money at the Rab on Friday night, I encourage you to do so. Check out the pool tournament, and then you could sing on stage right next to me. Yay! My regular Friday night gig, the Rab, Conway, Arkansas, from 8 until 12:30 in the a.m. And then on Saturday, those are made for parties. I tell you, I have a wedding on Saturday night, and unless you're invited, you cannot come. But the reason I mention it, because I'm excited. Weddings are back, baby. I'm doing like 3 or 4 a month, which is great. It is absolutely fantastic. Thank you for letting me be a part of your big day. Does that sound corny? Maybe a little bit. All right, let me get off this intro. Let's get into it with Emily Glazener. Skyping Emily Glazener now.
Now can you see me?
There she is. There's the Emily Glazener. I've been missing that face. Well, not too much, because you're all over my Facebook feed. You're all over my Twitter. You're all over my social media. All I have to do is see Emily Glazener in my dreams, in my eyeballs, on my screens. Is that what you do? Tell the people, remind the people who you are, in case they haven't listened to you on the previous podcasts.
My name is Emily Glazener. I am the lead singer of the original band, Red Iris, and also the tribute band, the Joan Hearts. I have a solo career, and I play solo gigs. Like I'm a musician and a mom. That's pretty much it.
All right. Well, you cut out a little bit on that one, but I'm not editing anything. Do you have a headset or headphones that you could put on, or? Hey, if you don't have anything closed, don't worry about it. I think we'll get it. I
had them, but this is great. They had been cut in half, and when I went to ask my 8-year-old who cut them half, he was like, "Oh, I thought they were Steven." So he thought they were the 12-year-olds. Therefore, it would have been okay. But could you hold on for just a second?
I'm holding.
Okay, thank you.
This is hold music. Why is it always Girl from Ipanema? A Girl from Ipanema is always the hold music. But if you're watching the video version of this, you check out her room. She is rock star. The whole room says rock star. And I know she's listening because she probably heard the whole thing. But your room is Rockstar. Tell people, to kind of guide people, the audio people around your room.
Okay, so this way, we've got Simon and Garfunkel, and then Eddie Izzard, and Marilyn Monroe, Elton John, Joan Jett, Boys, Charlie Chaplin, Elton John, Marilyn Monroe, some more Elton John, the Beatles up here, just all
right. Well, I'm trying to turn my 15-year-old daughter onto Saturday Night Live. My goal is to get her really interested in it, and we're starting in 1976. We're starting at the beginning. We watched the
literally what I'm watching.
What's that?
now. I think I'm in 79 going into 1980. I've been watching the old Saturday Night Lives. And when you do it, you see the genius of John Belushi. And, then I went back and I was like, I have to watch a documentary on it. You know me, I comedy and position, yes, but oh my God, I'm all about comedy and the art that it is. And I love comedy. And John Belushi was so good. He was so good.
So good. Him and Gilda Radner and the original Not Ready for Primetime Players. I know Chevy Chase only did it for 1 year, but the reason that I thought about it is the Simon and Garfunkel. Paul Simon was the second guest, and he had already been broken up and really had been in I guess I don't know the story of Simon and Garfunkel so well, but I don't believe that their breakup of their band, of their duo, was very well. It didn't go very well, but they got back together in the second show of Saturday Night Live, and it was a big deal. The whole audience was just like the Beatles got back together. Beautiful.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you this. I've been watching it this month, and I saw it a couple ago and a couple of days ago. I'm sorry.
Are you talking to me on your phone? Are you on your phone?
My phone.
Okay, because it is really cutting out, and I want them to be able to hear what you want to say. But say again.
Do you want me to my iPad?
Possibly. I can definitely make a cut there. Go ahead and hang up, and we'll make a cut there. All right.
Okay.
I see you, and let's see if the sound quality is a little bit better.
It might be. I get a lot of phone calls, so that happens quite a bit.
Yes. Now we got some good sound quality for those people that didn't hear those cuts. Hopefully, I do very well when I do the editing. But you were saying about Paul Simon, and you were saying about Saturday Night Live and where you're at.
Oh yeah, I was watching it and trying to think of the guy that they had on, but they had a gentleman on, and the same time that Paul Simon was on. And what I thought was really, really interesting is this gentleman, I can't remember his name, I'll have to think about it. But he put on this wig, he put on a wig that looked like Simon and Garfunkel, and he and Paul were sitting right next to him, and then Paul was like, "Are you trying to be, Garfunkel?" And he's like, yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. And finally, Paul was just done with it. That was part of the joke, and he left, and then all of a sudden Garfunkel's there, right? And he's not pleased, but it's also a joke. But what I thought was really, really interesting is at the very end where you see the entire group, right?
Yeah.
Paul and Garfunkel, they were like on opposite ends. Their body language was insane. They were like, "We are not looking at each other. I'm not looking at you. You're not." So they're not that way now, but you could literally see it there when you were watching it. And I don't know, it would have been like 77 or something like that. It was great. I just thought that's so interesting because it's right there. It's right there that they are not happy with each other. Well, there was nothing said. Yeah. It was just that idea of that I'm not going to look at you. I'm not going to talk to you. I'm not going to make it seem as any way that we are back together. So anyways.
No, being in bands and being in duos, there's breakups like in a family. There's a comedy duet. It's a couple of ladies, and they're called Garfunkel and Oates. And it seems like that's
hilarious.
What would they're kind of categorizing the Second Bananas as being a comical team. And I follow John Oates, funny enough, on Facebook. That man is very active. He's always throwing stuff out there on his Facebook page.
He does a lot of things. He did this thing where he used to, it was kind of like where you come to his house, and I don't know if it was actually really his house, but you would have other blues players and other rock players, and they'd come and jam with them. I remember that from years ago. Excuse me, I used to watch that.
Yeah, I know that they have done that. I was listening to a podcast, and I think they rent a house. It's not their house, but they'll rent a house down the way that's a neutral location, and they'll invite people to jam. Now, we have a place called TC's here in Conway, Arkansas. It used to be, from what I understand, this is before I came here to Arkansas from Miami, it was the Grand Ole Opry West. And on Sunday night, they have a blues jam, and it's I don't know. No, it might be just a Sunday night jam. I don't have to qualify it with blues, but all the musicians of the local musicians will get together, and it'll be a guitarist from that band and a drummer from that band and a singer from that band, and all get together and just noodle around, just trade ideas. Have you done anything like that, Emily Glazener?
Yeah, we do. We used to, years ago, we would have the jam, and we would have that at what is now the Pub Galleria, but we used to call it the Concert Pub Galleria. So we still consider it CPG. But we had a place like every Sunday. It was the jam, and it was supposed to almost be like an open mic. But very rarely was it ever an open mic. Most of the times that I'd ever been to it, it was just like everybody was off. It was Sunday. You wanted to see your friends and whoever you hung out with. And we would just get up there and we would sing songs. And if you walked in, like the lady who hosted it for the 3 or 4 years or so, her name is Angie, and she's a fabulous singer and great musician. And she's so much fun to sing with. We normally do Girl Crush. We do this great duet together of that. And but I knew if I was walking in, there was no way I was going to walk out without singing 3 songs or whatever. Even if you came there and you'd be like, I sang 4 or 5 times, she'd be like, you can hum. I'd be like, yeah, all right, I'll be there, But it was great because she did that to everybody. And there were people who would come in who'd never really sang. But really, that was where everybody who had played that week, we came in. It was early. It was like 6 to 9, and it was great. It was something we all really enjoyed doing.
Yeah, that's the life of an entertainer. You don't have a 9 to 5 job. Well, you do. 9 p.m., as B.B. King said, until 5 a.m. Yeah, you start to, you go out the door of the local club and God's flashlight, the sun is calling you in. The sun is starting to rise. Come on home. Come on home. Oh my gosh. Yes. B.B. King had you go to work 9 p.m. But, and you try to make time for yourself. Me, traditionally, I like to take Sundays off, working Monday through Saturday, whether I'm doing these podcasts or radio shows or DJing on the weekends. I like to keep Sundays off. Now, very rarely, and most of the time, it's somebody hands you a big bag of money and says, hey, you want to do my kid's birthday party on Sunday? Do I prostrate myself? Do I give up my lazy Sunday? Do I? Well, what would you do?
Well, honestly, I do play quite a bit on Sundays, but Sundays are great because Sunday is normally it's either a 3 a.m. to 7, 3 p.m. 3 p.m. to 7 or 4 p.m. to 8, which yesterday I did. And I made a good amount of money. I had a great time. And I got to do that thing that, most musicians don't play for 4 hours at a time, but like being able to be one of those people that I've got a guitar, I can go stand up and sing for 4 hours and entertain you and, and then turn around and go do it the next day and the next day and the next day. I just really enjoy that. And being able to do that, I've been playing since I was 15. So being able to just stand up there and they're like, all right, sing. All right, here we go, it's not like being a monkey, but it's in the sense of, can you make this money? If I say, get up and sing and I'll pay you this, if I feel like it, yeah, I'll go and do it. But I like Sundays. Sundays, a lot of times, if it's done at 8, it doesn't even matter if it's during the school year. If you're over at 8, you can have the kids in bed by 9:30. They've already been fed wherever they are. Normally they're with my mother-in-law and or my mom. So, it's perfect like that. So I like Sundays.
Yeah.
I don't really have a day that I'm like, no, I'm not doing anything. I'm like, yeah.
It sounds, and I appreciate that noise. That's a good singing voice right there. You were doing some warm ups.
I guess I'll play.
But it sounds like you have a good support system. A lot of times, a musician will give up a family, to go on the road, to go do things. Hey, remind the people where you are and the circumference of where you usually handle your shows. You don't like to go world traveling or country traveling. You like to keep it local, right?
Well, I do stay pretty local, but if I get the chance to go, I set aside time, say, because I like to play and I like to reach out in lots of different places. Like I was talking with another musician friend who was talking about touring and, and for a certain amount of time. And I thought, I might be able to pull that off because I'd love to do it. But normally I live in Lake City, which is right in between, really, if you think about it, Galveston and Houston. So I could play from there to there. I've done 2 gigs in Port Arthur, which is a bit of ways away. I'll drive. I just really enjoy singing on stage. My mom always used to say, that's where your home is, because that's where you're most comfortable. And I thought, yeah.
Yeah. You have that quality, that ability to play guitars and to create a feeling with your songs, and not just the original songs. You also do the cover songs. The cover songs, would that bring them in, and then the original songs kind of gives them another, wow, that girl is really talented.
That's exactly what I do. I'll play like 5, 6, 7 covers, and I'll say, hey, okay, well, this is a Red Iris tune. Or most recently, I'll be like, this is an Emily Glazener solo tune, and I'll come in with that. And then, they've already like, well, we like the way you sing this, so absolutely, we're going to listen to that. And I've had a lot more spins on Stay. Stay is very easy to play on the acoustic guitar and to be able to get that feeling that you want. So it's really cool. That one definitely goes on pretty well. But and then I have covers that are like, oh, I'll play this because everybody likes this. But then I have covers that I just love, like the Concrete Blondes, Joey. I'll play that, right? And I'll be like, when I finish it, I was like, if you can tell me what's the name of the band, I'll buy you a shot or I'll buy you a beer, And normally, and I was like, you can't use Google. And normally you have girls going, Concrete Blondes, or somebody was the 49 Blondes, like, no, that's this one that I'm about to play. But, another person will scream Concrete Blondes. I even do that at the Rockefeller, which is a really cool venue in Houston. I love to play it. Like, to say that I love to play it is an absolute, what's the word? I can't think of the word right now, but yeah.
It's an understatement.
Understatement. Yeah, because it's so great. It's an old bank. And the legend is that it was, Bonnie and Clyde robbed it. It's in Houston, off of Washington. It's so cool. And the green room, this is the best part. The green room is the vault. I remember I was in there with another band and I was looking around and I was looking at the walls, and the walls, they're cement. They're painted over, but they're real cement. And I was like, hey, man. They're like, what? I was like, I think we're in the vault. They're like, nah. I said, why is the wall this thick? And they're like, oh, really? And then we started looking for bullet holes because, we're looking at the legend of this place. And there is a little area that you can go past if you're upstairs where the balconies are. And that it just gets really, really cold once you walk through into the other room. So you go very, very quickly, because it's just creepy. But it's such a great venue. I love, love, love playing there. It's my favorite venue in Houston. It's definitely the Rockefeller.
I guarantee all entertainers, if they get that one place that they like to play, they'll want to go back there again and again. It's got the right acoustics. Mm-hmm. It's got the right sound. The sound equipment, the microphones were perfect. The audience was great. You want to experience that again and again. Bonnie and Clyde, man, I've watched so many movies, so many iterations of Bonnie and Clyde. In fact, a couple of days ago, I just watched one on Netflix that just popped up with Kevin Costner, where it's the bounty hunters or the Texas Rangers. I guess they were ex-Texas Rangers, and then they the governor at the time hired them out to go catch Bonnie and Clyde. And I think that they were it was Frank Heyman, maybe. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you know the story of Bonnie and Clyde, but you're a Texas girl. I guess that has to be somewhere in your mental area. Yeah.
Actually, the legend has it that on my mother's side, I'm related to Clyde, so which is kind of fun.
What?
And people always, if that ever comes up, and I'm like, he wasn't a good person. Like, it's not like a Robin Hood thing. He really, both of them, that's the reason they were taken down so violently.
Yeah.
They weren't this vigilante that people think that they were. If you watch the history of it,
Yeah.
So the legend
this,
from coming from my mom's side of the family
Yeah.
is like my great grandmother knew him, like in the family. It was either her first cousin or second cousin, but they were around the same age. But she, yeah, no. But I always think it's interesting. I once heard in a documentary they said that he would steal the pennies off a blind man's eyes, which was supposed to say a lot, like, yeah, or dead man's eyes. I'm sorry, dead man's eyes. He would steal the pennies off a dead man's eyes. Like he wasn't, like a farmer looked at him wrong and he just blew him away. Like it was just like it's an actual mafia gang type thing, So it's neat legend, but it really is not the history of it. It's so much more.
Well, this particular movie, they go to Barrow's father. I guess he's a mechanic, and he's working on a car, and he says he's no good. He said just end it. So as far as this story being told, even his dad said no, he doesn't need to be in this world anymore. If there was any good in him, it's gone. It's over. So they really painted Bonnie and Clyde not as a Robin Hood, as really bad people that were creating chaos. And they were just wired wrong. But you have a little bit of that blood in your body. You got a little outlaw in you, do you?
And it's funny because on the other side, on my dad's side, I'm supposed to be related to, like everybody's related to the McCoys, but like the Hatfields and the McCoys. Like my great grandmother, it was my great grandmother. She died when she was like 99. She was a Wachter, but before that she was a McCoy. And this is southern Mississippi that goes all the way back to it was. So those are all those little bitty legends.
Well, I used to work for a Joanna McCoy, and she was married to a Rob McCoy, and Rob was in that family. It's been legend passed down. So I don't know who was the bad guys, who was the good guys from a certain point of view. Speaking of from a certain point of view, you're wearing a Star Wars shirt, and I remember when and spoiler alert, when Obi-Wan told Luke Skywalker, these are two characters in the movies, kids. In case you haven't seen Star Wars, where you been? No, when he told Luke that Darth Vader betrayed and killed his father. And then later on, he says, from a certain point of view, I was telling you the truth.
Yeah.
So, is there a different truth for everybody? That seems to be political. The political thing these days is you can have your truth.
Point of view.
Isn't there truth? Isn't this truth or false? I don't know.
Well, the way when somebody says, well, a certain point of view, I'd be like, that's just lying but from omission. That's really all it is. It's not the truth. It's a lie, and you're just lying by omission. I didn't tell you that really it was your dad and his two sides of his, demon and angel, and the demon won out. Really that's what would it be. So to me, it's just lying by omission. I used to have a lot of friends who get away with that stuff. Like, oh no, I didn't say that. I was like, yeah, that's lying by omission.
Yeah.
I didn't ask you specifically. And, were you blah, blah, blah? Were you here? And you're like, you weren't there. It's like, you were at the next store. That's the same place. It's in the same spot, that kind of thing. So
well, I found out a long time ago. I'm a terrible liar. If I do try to cover my butt by lying, even if it's a little white lie, immediately I'll say, no, you're right. That wasn't true. I messed up. That was bad. I did that thing. I dropped that glass and I forgot to clean it up. Whatever it was. It's just, why did I try to cover that up? It's just human nature. You want to cover your butt. You want to get away with things. And maybe it's just me. Maybe that's just me. I'm the only one that wants to get away with anything.
No, I think everybody wants to get one over on somebody, and it's just your conscience that goes, oh, Jesus. Okay. What's so funny? That I love stand-up comedy. It's a Billy Connolly album, and he's talking about liars. He goes, people telling the truth, and he's like, I'm a liar. It's my occupation. Like if you think of it as like that's what I do. He's like, there's no recession. I'm loaded. It's like that's way back then, but I thought
No, embellishments. There was a
like,
movie.
I lie, that's my job, and I thought that was so funny.
There was a movie that I enjoyed so much. It's called the Big Fish, and this man just going through his life. He's talking about where he was in a circus.
Yeah, I remember that movie.
Ewan McGregor was in it.
Yeah,
Another Star Wars.
he was the dad.
Yeah,
he was the dad.
Later it was, I guess, Albert Finney. But the younger version.
He was the one telling the story.
Right, and it was always embellished, But then at the end of his life, more spoiler alert for this movie that's 20 years old called Big Fish. Still, go watch it. But at the end of his life, all these people show up to his funeral, and it was true.
Yeah, there was a lot of truth to it.
To the story.
Yeah.
But being a storyteller, I've never been much of a storyteller. I'm not good on these podcasts by myself. It's much better to have a person such as Emily Glazener who has some experiences that we can bounce ideas off of. And I love your room. I love how it's decorated. This is definitely your room. Me, I'm using a green screen because I'm in the middle of moving and I'm building a new studio. So I have my green screen behind me. Hey, spoiler, that's not real back there. But it looks like I'm in a studio, doesn't it? The green screen's great. No, but you do a lot of videos and it is always the iPad. It works so much better. Do you do them on the iPad?
I do them on my phone. All my videos I do on my phone. I put them up here. I have my little my Wonder Woman. I set my Wonder Woman up in front of it, and it holds my phone where I need it to. And it's really easy to upload for wherever I am. Sometimes it won't upload right away, but as you've known me for a little while now, I'm always on the move. Like I'm always going to the next thing. So on Sundays, I'll do my Sunday Fun Day, and I try to do it from 11 to 4, somewhere in that. Normally, I put it out before 12. But they have like every other weekend. There's one particular radio station that I like to tune into, but to hear like a show. So I normally try to put it out right before that or right after because I don't want to miss it. It's like, I don't want to miss this. So. Yeah, I like doing that though, and I like saying this is what I've been doing this week. And what's interesting is I noticed no one was doing that. And I did it for a few reasons. I'm not really flashy. I'm not. You can see, like I'm sitting here in my kid's T-shirt that I stole from him because it looks awesome on me.
Yes, women look better in your T-shirts. And
my makeup is like, if I'm doing a big show, well then I'm going to wear a lot of makeup. But other than that, I'm not going to really wear that much. And I just liked the idea of, and I'm a mom, so I like the idea of I'm selling myself in the sense of this is me. This is really what you're going to get. Like you're not going to get any. So if you know who I am, maybe you're going to think about listening to our music or my music and. It's not like oh my gosh, they looked like a model on this thing, and that's not really what they are in person. That kind of thing. I just want to make it to be where you could see who a person really is. I have people that I consider myself friends now from England and from Germany and just from all over. And I think one of the reasons is because I come across as literally who I am. Like this is it. Like right now. My nails aren't done because I've got so many gigs going on. You know what I mean? Like, and I was thinking I've got to throw up on a little bit of makeup before I do this with you, But I was running around all day today. So if I've got like 4 or 5 shows, I'll say I've got this many shows this week, and this is what Red Iris is doing, and this is me. And I do it in this room. Now I'm starting to do it on location because I'm being booked in other places, which is fun to say, all right, I'm out in the hot sun. Like my last one was, I'm out in the hot sun, and it's hot in Texas. My hair is all into my face, but I like doing those videos because that's the only way I can reach somebody over in England who likes my music, but they don't know anything about the lead singer from Red Iris. So, or somebody in Germany. I did an interview with Jorg in Germany. He's got his another thing that he's doing, and he's putting together a label, and I talked with him, and I've talked with other people, and that's awesome. But a lot of them, people are like, I saw your video. I really like your video. I want to talk to you. Just like I remember, I didn't put a video up, but you saw my pictures and how like I was just me, it was, and you approached me. And so like, I'm putting myself out there as myself,
Well, first of all, you got to face the fact that you're a natural beauty. You're gorgeous, girl. You're gorgeous. And that's
pish.
Oh, but that,
You.
don't be embarrassed or anything. Yeah, all women are beautiful. Okay.
Thank you.
And you have to own it, love it. Be beautiful. Be that person. You are that person. You're the front person, and you know how to express yourself and make the crowd feel something that they needed to feel. They've been working hard all week. They need that Emily Glazener. They need that Red Iris. They need that Joan Hart's. Is it Joan Hart's? Did I say that right?
It is the Joan Hart's, yes.
It is the Joan Hart's. You have so many things, so many irons in the fires. Is this the only thing that you're doing now? It is right
now. Due to COVID, when it was happening, my son had gotten sick, and we don't know if he had it, but he's now 12. But at the time, he was 10 and a half, and it was really frightening. And it was in March of 2020, and we just had no idea, we just didn't know anything. And it was just kind of creeping along. And he woke me up with a really high fever, like at 2:30, 3 o'clock. And I was supposed to go to work the next day, and I never went to work ever again. Unfortunately, I lost my job due to it, but I had to stay home because they were like, we can't test him, but you and your entire family need to stay home. And so that's exactly what happened. And then after that, they offered me a job back, and it just was not pleasant the way they offered it back. So I just thought, you know what, I'm going to stay at home with my kids, and I play music. Because I'm pretty good at following the rules, is the best way to say it. Whenever it was late July of last year is when I started being called back to do gigs. And a lot of people haven't been playing that long, but I have, because they were like, look, Emily, you're going to have to stay away from people. You're going to have to wear your mask. You're going to have to do this, but I'll pay you this much money, 45 minutes to an hour. Get up there solo. Everybody's going to be separated. We're just starting this over again. Will you do it? And I was like, absolutely, I will do it. To get on stage again was just, a big thing for me. And so people wanted me to go live. I didn't have the ability with all my kids running around all the time to go live. Like right now, I can hear them. You can't hear them, but I can hear them, So when I got to go out and go live in the sense of being there, and following the rules, and I had somebody say something really snarky and ugly on Twitter about the fact that, like, take that mask off your face, blah, 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 America. And I was like, look, there are rules, and I'm going to follow the rules wherever I am, if that's what they mean. If you fly, you're going to wear a mask anyway. Mm-hmm. So the way they were so ugly, and what's interesting is I have, other people who came to my defense, like, why would you say that? If that's how you feel about it, don't do it. But when I want to work somewhere, I'm going to ask them, what are all the things that I need to do to be following the rules to keep me and you safe? The moment I was able to get a vaccine, I did, because I knew I'm going to be playing. I'm going to be all over. Yes, I always have I have my mask. I love my mask. I have my Make Humanity Great Again mask. I do. The Eddie Izzard Make Humanity Great Again mask. I love it. And normally I wear it. I've got this little pouch that I bought just so I have only a few masks, but normally I wear that one. So I'm constantly washing it. It's in the wash right now. But I didn't have any problem with following those rules. And because I was there on time, follow the rules, I wasn't having to told, hey man, put that back on, or you need to stay this far away. I went in it like it's a job, because when you are a musician, yes, it's art, but it is still your job. Now, I bet you feel the same way when you do your thing. It's art and it's a job. It's both. We're lucky that we get to do both, but it is a job. If your gig is at 6, you need to show up at least 4:30. Yeah. Even if you're just lowly acoustic, because there are so many other people. Especially if you're open. Folks, if you're opening for someone, if they say be there at 4, be there at 3:30, because that band is still going to be tooting up. And if you want any shot at that, at the guy who's running the music, the sound guy, If you want to get in good with him, be there early. Have all your stuff together. Be there early. I cannot tell you how many musicians I know who do the same thing that I do. Coming in, they are playing at 7 and they come in at 6:30. All I got to do is plug in. No. And you almost want to be like, I don't know them. They are not with me. I know we were talking, but I just met them, because you're like, oh, I don't want to be associated with that. And a lot of musicians do get that association of, I'm always like, I'm going to be prompt and on time. It is a big deal for me. Mm-hmm. But that's why I've been playing as long as I've been playing.
That's why you get paid the amount you get paid. That's why you're at this level, because you have a craft, you've perfected a craft, you continue to practice, even though you have enough talent to get up on stage and play songs. You have a repertoire, you have a bank of enough songs to get you through 4 hours at least, and you still want to learn more songs, and you want to be professional. It is a job. It absolutely is a job. People say, oh, you're going to go do that wedding on Saturday from 3 to 7. Well, I'm going to be there 1:30 to set up, because I'm my own roadie. And when you're a solo guitarist, you're the roadie.
You're your own roadie, yeah.
Yeah. Do you have your PA system that you can go do a mobile show if you need to?
Yeah, that's what I did yesterday. I even went and I noticed that nobody had I was working with had a dolly, and I used to work in a plant in Baytown, like a chemical plant, and I worked for the mail. I was a supervisor years ago in the mail rooms, and we had these particular dollies, and it was really easy. You just throw the package or whatever on that dolly, and I was like, oh, I'm going to find that. So I found that on Amazon, and that thing works great. Everybody else has got these big dollies or whatever, It's like, I've got this thing. I was like, I don't need that at all. So I could shove pretty much everything on to this particular dolly. I needed it to hold like 250 pounds. So I think that's what it'll hold. And it folds down really compact. I love it. But yeah, it's me. Sometimes like I have really great friends, and they'll come out and they'll help me set up the big shows and things like that. But they'll be coming out to help. But if they're not there, like when I went to Port Arthur the last 2 times, I drove all the way there. It's like an hour and a half there, set up all my stuff, tore it all down, came back, but I have pride in that. I've been invited to sing and play at the Crossing the Tyne Festival in South Shields, Newcastle and South Shields in England. And if it's open, like I've got my tickets sitting there. I can't buy them yet because I got to know that it's open. But if it's open, like I'm going, and it's supposed to be like in the end of August. I'm so excited. I was like, oh, that's great. And people are like, well, why do you do all these things? If you go into Houston by yourself, you do all these things. Why do you do it by yourself? This is because if I'm in England, I don't know anyone. But I've got to be able, as a grown woman, to get my stuff from A to B and figure out how to do it. That's literally how I raise my kids, too, in the sense of my oldest, he's actually on leave for the first time from the Navy. But we're looking at cars and things like that for him. And I was like, nope, you got to sign it. You've got to fill it all out. Like he's been registering himself for school since he was like 14. I'm there looking at it, but I'm making him go through it because you know how many people do not know how to fill out a form? There are a lot of people who cannot fill out a form. So doing things on my own and teaching my children how to be sufficient and do things on your own. Like in this business, eventually you do get people. But until you get those people, you have to be your own people.
Oh, what's funny? I've been looking for a roadie since 1986. I'm with you on that cart. I went and I got the rock and roller cart. And people are amazed. I am too old and too fat to make 2 trips. So I'll have 2 speakers, a box full of goodies, lights, stands for the speakers, microphones, so much equipment. And I'll set it all up and it'll look like a nightclub just showed up. And they'll go, you got that all in on one trip in one cart. Yeah. Yeah. So yes, nickel's worth of free advice for the kids out there. The rock and roller cart. This is not a paid advertisement, and it holds 700 pounds worth of stuff. Yay. So
I have a lot of musicians who have that, musician friends who have that one. And literally when you were saying all that, I thought it was like, oh, you're playing Tetris. I bet you know exactly where each piece is going to go, how it's going to fit, and they load it up. I used to have a friend who would load up another musician's friend. Like, he wasn't a musician, but he loved the idea of loading all of his stuff up. It was late at night after a lot of people had had too much to drink, and he would just be like, gonna put it here, and then nobody else could get it to fit the way he could.
No.
He could get it to fit. But yeah, that's what I thought. There's talent. There is a lot of talent. I have another musician friend that whenever if I come out and I watch him play, his name is Chris Hardy. He's an amazing musician. But whenever he breaks down, and I'll often help because, solo musician, I get it. Where everything is going to go. Hey, the guitar goes in the here, this goes in there. That you all already know, because he'll like, all right, Emily, this goes here, 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 and here. My car, because it's constantly changing, it's just like, just shove it in there. There's just some room somewhere. There's the Nerf guns and pillows and probably a bag of chips in there to sit on top. I'm so not the Tetris.
No, at the end of the night, invariably drunk uncle will come up and say, "Hey, you need some help?" And I'll say, "No, thank you." No.
Yeah.
Because they don't know how that stuff.
That's very true. Like I know a lot of people. I remember I was like, "Hey, Chris, do you need any help?" He's like, "Yeah, you know how to roll a chord." Because like you do, if you don't roll it right, you get the kink in it, and then it does it. Oh yeah. So like, yeah, it's funny. Like there's that musician code. Like, oh, I've seen you play. I know you know what you're doing. You may help me.
Well, and
some people think it's rude, but it's thousands and thousands of dollars worth of stuff.
Well, and you can tell the pros by their equipment and how it looks when it's packed up. There's cases, there's bags. It's not loose. I've seen people throw wires and cables up on top of a pile. No, there's a bag for that. There's a place for that. There's a microphone case here. It fits here. Everything is cased up. My DJ equipment, the turntables, they're in a case. So if you see equipment and especially when they're set up, if there's wires laid out everywhere, no, you want things to be kind of in order. You don't, maybe in a live band situation, that feel of wires and such kind of laid out a little bit. But the big guys, if you watch one of these shows that you paid $100 for, I don't think I've seen a cable at a Poison show or REO Speedwagon too much.
I know what you're talking about, and actually here, like when we play here, the way things are set up, there's wires, but like it's not like they're just because smaller time, but there's always rhyme and reason to where they are, and that you always want them to be the same place, whatever stage you're at every time. That way, you know what you're walking over, and the way they're put down, they're rolled in a certain way to where they come out another way. If there's too much of a wire somewhere, most sound guys, they fix it. They make sure that it's set up the way it should be. It's not like a garage band. When you can see a young band and you just look at the way they set up and you're like, okay, you don't have it yet, but it's okay. You're going to get there. But y'all haven't lost somebody tripping over this wire onto the drums, losing the drums, because I've seen that happen before.
I've seen those Marshall stacks
that you've seen on stage as a performer as years go by.
I've seen people fall off the stage. That's not cool. No, but you say that you have the ability to be a mobile performer, that you can show up at any event, anytime, any place. If the travel is provided, hey, you can go anywhere. Is with enough time and the travel provided, you can be anywhere, anytime. But it's nice to have those gigs where you can plug and play. You said you made friends with the sound man, and that lets me know that you have that favorite venue of yours is all the equipment is all set up. All you are is pretty much plugging and playing, even though you're showing up an hour and a half early because you're a professional.
Well, but the other thing is, like, if you show up an hour and a half early, I'm plugging and playing, and it depends on what other band. So if I'm doing it with the Joan Harts, unfortunately, some members of my band, they can't get off until a certain time. So we've got to bring everything in, set it all up, and then they show up later. So you've got to be there early. And even when I'm got the acoustic, the reason I show up so early is, see, if Nightbird is a fabulous band that plays here in Houston, they are a tribute to Stevie Nicks and Fleetwood Mac. And they have a lot of members. So I know if I'm playing before them, I'm going to show up really, really early because they have so many instruments, because they have so many members, and because they are this fantastic band they are, their sound check is probably going to be a little bit longer than other people's, you know? So I come in, make sure I have all my stuff, stand away. I talk to the manager before, so he knows I'm not necessarily going to stay through all of the show because I can get home to my kids, you know, and so I talk it out with them about where I'm going to be afterwards, you know, for other things. It's just it's a job. There are so many people who just, even when it's not your main job, even when you have other jobs besides this one once, which I did up until this year, I've always treated it like that. You know, I've always treated it like, this is my job. This is what I do. If I want to be called back, which I very often am, you have to show up and you have to be professional and you have to, like, you know, do the right things for that venue because all venues are different.
And they call you back because you are reliable. But you've given the people gems. You're letting people know when you have a whole band, 3, 4, 5, 6 members. Yeah, they all have lives. They're all and they're all different people. Maybe they all like the same kind of music because they're all in the same band. But they, you know, maybe some have kids. Maybe some are single parents. Maybe some have grandparents. Everybody's got in jobs. You know, day jobs. Day jobs give you that insurance that maybe the band work wouldn't give you. It's rare when you see somebody on a certain level when you're starting out as a musician, you don't have insurance. It's kind of, you know, you want that stability, and that's something a lot of times that being an entertainer doesn't give you. It's a hustle. But some people love the hustle. I've been doing it since '86. I love the hustle, you know? What do you think? Do you have an agent that books you, or is it all Emily Glazener?
I work with different agents. I have one in particular for things that I do solo, and then I have one, that do solo and bands. And I really respect both these gentlemen. They're different. One normally works kind of out of Lake City and area, and the other one's in Houston. And I've been working with them for a while. And the one in particular, he was the one who's like, I love the fact that you're going to get back to me in at least less than 15 minutes, you know. Well, and I have it to where, you know, certain people hit your phone, you know it right away. And if I don't, I was like, I was driving and, you know, and I'm ready to pull over because I know this is going to be a good gig, this, you know, particular booking agent. And then just, you know, there are certain people who've been in the business for a really, really long time, and to recognize who they are and what they bring to the table. And then the, you know, respect, all those things are a really big deal. And so I like working with them. And I also book on my own. You know, you have to be able to do it from every which way. When you're in, a certain level, you just have to do it that way. You know, maybe one day it will change. Even if it changed, I'd probably still want my hands in it because I've been doing it for so long.
It's hard to step away, but how do you get to that next level unless you have more people on your team? You cannot do it all by yourself. I've learned that over the years. I try to do it by myself. No, I'm going to stay at this level, you know, at this particular level if I try to do it all by myself. So if I have other people working for me, whether they're working for money or for love, you know, there's a team. Yeah. A team effort. Do the other members in your band, the two different bands, also strive to get gigs, and do they come up, you know, kind of as a team effort? Hey, I got this idea. You want to do this, and everybody huddles together and you. Well,
yeah, you know, with Red Iris, Zeke is an amazing hustler when it comes to gigs. You know, so we're working, but having, you know, get people together, and then you've got to have right now in so many places, since you've been without music for so long and being in Houston, original bands, we're booking, but it's not as much as booking a cover band. I mean, just to be honest, you know, a cover band books really quickly. So with my cover band, because I have the Joan Hearts, which is the tribute band, and then we started doing / Emily and the Cruisers. So we could play a 4-hour night, you know, my Joan Hart band. We kind of have the same setup, you know. We have all the Joan Hart songs, and then we throw in a bunch of really fun rock tunes on top of that. to like a good 4 hours, and just a big fun rock band. And that drummer, his name is Leo. Leo is fabulous when he's like, all right, we're booked here, we're booked at Bubba's, we're booked. I love that. And he's got a full-time job, and he's a great dad and husband, but he puts in that time. And we try to make it to where we don't play too many times a month because of those things. He does have his family, I have my family. Everybody's got something that's going on. So that's fun, but that's fine, because then I've got the Red Iris gig, and then I've got my solo gig, and then and then on top of that, I do fill-in solo show, not fill-in cover shows, which is really fun. So they that's why iPads are so amazing now. Used to, if you were going to fill in, you'd have to know 2 to 3 months in advance, and you had to learn a lot of songs. Now you have to learn the songs, but at least they're like, I'm like, yeah, and I'll be really straight up with them. I'll say, okay, I know about half your set list. I'm going to be working on it, but this, I'm to make sure, so we can make it through your show. I'll make sure I'll have my iPad there. That way I can play the chords and sing along, and it'll be fine. And some people don't like that, but it's like I said, it's a job. So that's how you can promote to a different level and learn songs quicker by having that ability to do that.
Yeah, the ultimate thing is what's going to give the people the best show. If an iPad is what you need, then that's what you put up there. I don't mind seeing an iPad kind of, off to the side or maybe attached to the pole. I think that's normal for, to have your accompanying music if you're a solo guitarist. Now, I did hear a podcast earlier on Broadway. Instead of learning all their lines, a lot of times they have monitors up all over the stage and off to the right, so they really don't have to learn their lines. Like they're washing dishes, and in the sink there's a monitor there.
I didn't know about that. That's interesting. I knew that from SNL though, like in Saturday Night Live.
Cue cards.
I did. They used to have the cards, and now they have like the other stuff. But I love Saturday Night Live, and even if you're looking at something, you're still playing it live. You're still giving them, your part of the song, your soul out of that song. So there aren't many that I do that with, but the few that I do, it's in my process of learning. I've been playing since I was 15. So, and there's always something else to learn. And then when you go through a period of time, I went through a period of time where I didn't play too many solo shows, and I spent a lot of time on the bands, and I was working a lot. And now I'm jumping back into playing a lot of solo shows. And so, I'm really going back at some of my music. I was like, oh, this is so great. I forgot this. I already taught myself how to play Every Breath You Take. And I do it in a particular way, and I love that one, and I was like, oh, this is such a great one. And because I'm just playing the acoustic guitar, my favorite part of Every Breath You Take is actually that little solo in the bridge in the middle of the piano. To me, that's where all that pain lies in that song. It's just right there. That's just me, folks. It's not everybody else. So when I'm playing, when I'm going through the chords, I'll just sing that part. Because that's what I would be feeling anyway. If I'm listening to it, I'm listening to Police, I'm still going to sing that part because I love that part. I think those notes just hit in a certain manner, that same string of pain that sits with everyone. That bum, 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 bum. I love that. So same thing with the song Letters to Elise, Cure. I like to play that one. So da, 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 when I'm playing all the chords, so I'm singing it, and everybody is picking up on that part. Oh, that's what that song is. There's a lot of ways you can do songs, to bring something else to the table. I've never been really good at a lead or anything like that. I remember John Mellencamp, I think it was, once said, I want to just know enough chords to be able to play and write a song. I never really want to make the guitar cry or all that other stuff. I love that about John.
I just found out.
That's me.
I just found out his nickname is The Bastard.
The Bastard.
Yeah, that's his nickname. That's what people call him. I never met John Mellencamp, but I met
real nice fella.
I met Ted.
I've always liked John Mellencamp.
No,
I played Pink Houses last night. It was great.
No, I met Ted Mellencamp down in the Florida Keys in an elevator at Holiday Isle in Alamorada in the Florida Keys, and he goes, "I'm Ted Mellencamp," and I look at him, and his hair was just about the same. He's a little heavier, and I go, okay, I believe you. I didn't know, but we chatted for a little bit. But no, you mentioned Every Breath You Take, and it kind of led me back to circa 1997, just after Biggie died, and Puff Daddy had that song that used the version. But on MTV Music Awards that year, he was singing.
I remember that.
Oh my gosh! And Sting comes up from the stage. Oh, can't you see? And I was I was bawling like I just hurt my knee. I was crying my eyes out. Anybody that wants to know that vision, look up MTV Music Awards. I think it's had to be 1997, and Sting coming out of that. Oh, can't you see you belong to me? I was like, oh my goodness. But yeah, you gave me the feels on that. Just thinking about things. It's amazing what you can trigger in a conversation. Just talking about things that you create, things that have been created. It's amazing. But you've given the people already a lot of gems, a lot of ideas. If you want to be a musician, if you want to be a musician that makes money, not a starving artist, you have to get into a lot of things. Have the ability to be solo if you can. I mean, it's kind of hard to carry a drum set around from place to place and just make a living just playing drums on your own. But if you can grab a guitar and kind of sing along with your guitar, that's a fantastic talent. That is a talent that I wish that I had. And I keep saying I wish I can do it. I can just grab a guitar and learn how to play it. I may not be Emily Glazener good, but I can get good. I can get good. I believe in myself. I think
you can learn a guitar at any time, especially now you've got the YouTube and you've got all kinds of things. My thing is, when anybody wants to learn how to play a guitar, I say just find, because every now and then I'll teach, a few people how to do the first couple of things, and then they're on their own. But I always say, find a song that you really love to sing, and that way you will learn how to sing and play it at the same time.
Well, you just
everybody I've ever worked with, they do.
You just let me know another avenue of yours. You're also a guitar teacher.
Oh, it's not very often. It's just, I just teach people how to play the chords. They get to learn the chords. Like my friend, Stephanie, who actually lives in the same little area that I do, will be working on that pretty soon because it's summertime and she's a teacher. And so she's like, how much? And I was like, nothing. You're a teacher.
You got to stop that.
You do a job.
No, you have to realize if they offer you something, it's because they can afford it. You can say $20 if you want, or you can say $10. But
I know. But my thing is, I respect the fact that she's a teacher, and I know what she can afford and those kind of things. I'm very close to her. But for me, that was just my segue into saying that, teachers do not get the respect that they should, especially after we had to teach our own kids for months and months and months and months. Oh my God, they are saints. Because I am not a teacher. I can teach you how to play guitar, but I am not a teacher.
You got to think back to when you were in school. Do you remember some of the teachers that taught you along the way? I remember my kindergarten teacher, Mrs. Brightwig. I remember her, because she it was teachers have an impact on your whole life, especially the teachers that really care. You remember those, and I'm thinking of a long list of teachers that I've had through my life. And do you? Who were your favorite teachers or your favorite courses growing up?
My fourth grade teacher, Mr. Haynes. I love that he would tell a story and he would read us. He read us this book called Wait Till Helen Comes. It was actually pretty darn scary for a fourth grader. And he read us a story called A Taste of Blackberries. I cried every time. Unashamedly, it was most kids in that class. I remember when he finished it. We cried because of the way it ended. It was very similar to My Girl. So go back and watch that, And I love that. He made me want to go back and read them later. He was such a good teacher. I love the way the way he read our books like that. He read history the same way. He would take history and make it the same way he would read us, a novel. I really love Coach Stevens. most people, and he was in sixth grade. I had him. I was one of the lucky, and I say lucky because he was strict, but he was so funny. I can remember him reprimanding somebody, turn around going, "Hey guys," like we're moving on to the next thing. And we were like, "Oh, that's crazy." But I had him sixth grade, seventh grade, and eighth grade. I had him for sociology, I think it was, which nobody had that in sixth grade. Then I had him like as an English teacher. Then I had him for some other class, but I was like, I had him 3 years, and he was a coach, and he was such a coach. It was Barbers Hill. That's where I went to school, outside of Baytown into Mont Bellevue. And I always loved him. I loved Coach Stevens. His big thing was not to put your feet on the basket under the desk in front of you. And he'd be like, "Get your feet off my furniture."
You know what's so funny?
And all that was, people would get mad if you say that, but that was just keeping you in line for agitating the person that was in front of you. Like now when you're a grown up and you look back at it, you're like, yeah, I totally understand why we couldn't kick the person in front of us. Got it. When you're a kid, you don't like that.
You know what's funny is the history teacher is always the coach. I've heard that so many times.
The history teacher. I've had almost all, like I said, I went to Barbers Hill. My science teachers, my math teachers, my English teachers, everybody, every kind of subject you think you can have, they were also coaches. It was such a big thing to be a coach there, So, but yeah, I remember that Coach McManus and his wife, Mrs. McManus. Coach McManus. I had him. He was fabulous in sixth grade, and then his wife actually taught me how to drive, Miss McManus. And she used to let us bring, because that was in driver's ed in high school. So she used to let us bring music whenever it was our turn to drive, because she knew when we were actually going to be driving by ourselves, we were going to be listening to music. So she would give us instructions with when we had I always thought that was a great idea. And I brought a tape and everybody was like, but I can remember it was Rocket Man was the first, song that came across, because it was Elton John. Of course, I was going to be listening to Elton John. I remember I was the first person that got to be able to parallel park right away. And I can't parallel park to save my life. My friend Celeste, she's like, "Emily, this is how you do it." And so normally we get out of the car, and even if we're in my car, we'll get out of the car, and she will parallel park. She's wonderful. Celeste is great, but she can, and she's so good. She's like, "This is how you parallel park." I'm like, "I don't know anything that you just said. I'm just gonna let you do it."
I know how to parallel.
Those are the teachers that I remember.
Yeah, I know how to parallel park, but it is dangerous. It is scary, especially if you have traffic coming both ways. I parallel park in downtown Conway, and it's like 2 lanes and then
Houston.
Parking spots. Oh yeah, for sure.
Like in the Heights in Houston, parallel park.
I mean, I know, pull ahead, put your blinker lights on, let people know you're backing up. I'm going to back up into you. You better stop.
Yeah. Or down in off the Strand in Galveston, that normally if you park anywhere, you're going to have to pay an enormous amount of money, or you're going to parallel park. So if I'm going with somebody, I'll be like, "Y'all go park it, because I'm not parking this. The only time you're going to drive my car is right now."
Well, that's safety conscience. Okay, if you can't do something, you have somebody that can help you. Yeah, and that's good, man. You have friends, you got a good support base, and people know a little bit more about you. I'm glad that we got a chance to catch up a little bit. But you got some projects that are coming up. What are you doing with the different bands, or with Emily Glazener on your own proper?
Well, with Red Iris, we're trying to get together to finalize a few of the lead vocals going on to our newest song to be released called Witching Hour. And we've been going back and forth, and now I'm starting to play rhythm guitar as well. So I can play rhythm guitar on acoustic very easily. Everybody says that an acoustic guitar is the same as an electric guitar, and they are liars, because it is not. And they're like, "Oh, if you can do one, you can do the other." No. You see, I'm having to relearn how to do it, because it's very different. And that's fine. I'm up for the challenge with that.
How so?
So we're working on that.
What's the difference? You got the acoustic guitar, and is it an electric acoustic? Is it plugged in, or do you put a mic on it?
I have an electric acoustic that's plugged in, like I'll cut Reg right next to me. But the strings are normally harder.
Okay.
The way you do a chord. See, if I want to play something, that's Elton John. So Elton John, that's a lot of piano chords. Okay. lots and lots of piano chords. So you've got to figure out another way to play them on the guitar. So I'll use a capo instead of killing my fingers and trying to go like this. I'll just use the capo and I'll play a C where there should be an E flat. Easy. With electric, it's not really all that feasible to change the key with a capo. You got to do a bar chord and you've got to do other things. So I'm shaping my fingers in a different way. Now I can play bar chords on an acoustic guitar all day long, but after a while, it really weighs on your hand. You know, having to hold the keys there. I mean, having to hold the notes in place with your hand. You know, the position and everything.
Is it metal? Is it metal strings as opposed to filament strings? Is it metal strings as opposed to filament?
Oh, they're metal strings, yeah.
As opposed to
both of them, with electric and the acoustic are metal strings.
Oh, okay. I thought it was different kinds of strings.
It's just a different feel. I mean, yes, all the notes are same, all the chords are same, but it's completely different feel. And so I found a guitar that I really like. It's a hollow body electric. It's silver. It's a Gretsch because I like to play Gretsch.
I like a Gretsch.
It is a Gretsch.
Yeah, Brian Setzer has that big old Gretsch, man. I love that guitar.
Yeah. So I finally broke down, and the guys were so excited that I got my own electric guitar because then they knew, all right, well, she's going to learn what she needs to learn. And I had to get the pedal, then I had to get the other stuff. So I never have to use with an acoustic. You know, I just plug in and I go. Now I'm going to learn all these other things that I didn't know before. And it's fine. But I love it. I made sure I picked out something that I would adore. Her name is Dorothy Gale because I love The Wizard of Oz.
What color is she?
And she's silver. Oh, she's silver.
Oh, okay.
Because Dorothy's shoes, people out there, were not ruby shoes. They were silver because it was talking about the ratio of silver to gold. The Yellow Brick Road was the gold, so you're silver to gold. Everything in that's got an analogy to something else, you know. And there are a lot more books than just that one. They're like 10.
It was the first book. The first actual book that I read was The Wizard of Oz. A beautiful, beautiful story.
It's actually really good.
It was like 300 pages, and I was very proud of myself. I think I was 4 or 5 years old reading that book. That was cool. But I've loved that movie forever and ever. My mom can quote it front to back. So beautiful.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. But all right, so continue. Where are we at with the bands, and when's the next gig, if you have any coming up?
With Red Iris, our next gig is in August. With the Joan Hearts, my next gig is July 11th. With my solo, my next gig is this upcoming Saturday.
I got a when, but I don't have a where. Where?
Oh, okay. This upcoming Saturday, I'll be playing in a place called O'Neill's that's down the street. And then on July 4th, I will be singing the national anthem in the Woodlands at Hughes Landing, which is really cool. Really excited. I used to do that all the time. My little brother used to play in championships in baseball, and then they would cart me around because like, oh, she's gonna sing it. She'll sing the national anthem, and I get up there and do it. And then
I could see them carting you around, just putting you on that little dolly, roll you out, and then roll you back.
Yeah, exactly. So that's how I got used to singing it, and I've been singing it since I was really young. And I've sang it in Texas City, which is a place I used to live. I lived there with my husband, and when he passed away, they asked me to sing the national anthem for the benefit that they do, their walkathon that they do for cancer, because my husband passed away of lung cancer. So I proudly got out there and sang it. And then after that, I've sang it in Texas City for their police department. You know, I'll get picked from different people that ask me to sing it. But I just happened to be going through Facebook, and a friend of mine, George Mangus, great guitarist, really cool guy, band member. I think he's in at one point, he was in 3 or 4 bands. Just awesome. George is great. And he tagged me in this thing that I'd never seen. And it was about singing the national anthem. I was like, oh, yeah, sure, I'll do that. And then the guy goes, really? I don't even know this cat. I was like, yeah. For me, it's not hard. For some people, it may be hard. And it is a difficult song to sing the right way. But just as long as you put your heart and soul into it, and you don't do the whole Rosie O'Donnell thing, I think you're all right,
Yeah, more Whitney Houston, less Rosie O'Donnell. Yeah.
More Whitney Houston, less Rosie. Or you throw in a little bit of some soul into it. Yeah, it'll be all right.
I've heard people try to put a backbeat to the national anthem.
What was it?
It doesn't work. It didn't work.
Marvin Gaye did an amazing job of it, though. Like, it was like, what was it? It was like a baseball, basketball. Yeah, it was like, now that's how you sing the national anthem. And then one year, years ago, like when the Simpsons were just starting off, they had Bleeding Gums Murphy come up and sing the national anthem. And most recently, I nudged my kid. I was like, that's what they're doing. They're doing the Marvin Gaye thing. He goes, "Are you sure?" And I was like, "Yeah, let me show you what it is." But it's great. But that was his way of doing it. I think more Marvin Gaye than the other. But like I said, when you sing the national anthem, it's our national anthem. It is our song. For whether you're blue or red, it's still our song. Yeah. And how I feel about it, I am a patriot. I'm not a nationalist, but I am definitely a patriot. Yeah. I love being from America, but I am very worldly in the sense of I've raised my kids, and I think I've told you this before. The way I look at the world is I tell my 3 boys they are the most important 3 boys to me in the world, but at no point in their life should they ever be more important than any other 3 boys that are being raised around the world by a mom, because somewhere in China, she's got 3 boys. Those are the most important. Japan, those are the most important. In Africa, her children are more important to her than anything else. And her love for them is not anything less than my love for my boys. Mm-hmm. And so, I know I've told you that before, but I like to share that because I think that is a great way to look at the world and to teach your kids that's how we're all equal. Because someone loves them the same way I love you, And
that's a great way to finish this thing off. If everyone sweeps their own front porch, the whole world will be clean. So take care of your own and make sure that you're growing good people, which you are. You're raising some boys to become good people, and that's a beautiful thing. That's commendable. So, all right. So
that's what I want to do. That's the way I look at it. That's my legacy.
Are you putting anything down on tape that people can buy? Any singles coming out?
I'm working on a solo album. I'm in the middle of working on a solo album. And because I had written a Christmas song, and I just was able to release it in a small little way, not even release it, just a little thing on YouTube that I did with a band called Specky Cult from England. And we didn't mix it together really well in the video. If you look it up on YouTube, it's not great, but it's us together singing my song. And so my goal is I want to have that released by the end of the year, right around Christmas. So I'm working on it now. And that song is really important to me because I'm singing Merry Christmas in 4 different languages. Like, I'm not singing anything other than Merry Christmas in 4 different languages. Feliz Navidad is very easy to say, but like Freiheil van Haken, which I believe is the way you say it in German.
What you call me?
I got to work on that a little bit more,
Well, what did you call me? What was that?
Exactly.
Meli Kaliki Maka?
I can't remember.
Yeah, I remember Hawaiian. Meli Kaliki Maka.
Yeah, that one. But I'm just saying all the other ones. And I think I've told you before, I'm a really big Eddie Izzard fan.
No kidding.
I love the things that, I love the Make Humanity Great Again. And I've told you that before. And that inspired me because Eddie does a stand-up in, I think it's 4 different languages. It's French, German, English, and Spanish. And that's such a cool thing. So I wanted to write a Christmas song in the sense of, like, because to me, Christmas is for everyone. Yes, it is a Christian holiday, but you got Santa Claus and you got Christmas trees, and every denomination and every religion, responds to the wreath and things. So I wanted to write it in the sense of for everyone in that sense. So, so I've got that Christmas song that I'm working on, and I'm trying to have it released along with quite a few other tunes. And it's really fun. It's fun getting into the studio and working on those things. So they will be coming soon.
Well, I mean, don't just put them out on YouTube. Make sure you put them on the
the
Apple so people can buy some stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
People can buy some stuff and support Emily Glazener and the Red Iris and the Joan Harts and all the different. Joan Harts is not is not strictly Joan Jett music, right? It is like 80s band.
It started off as a tribute band just to Joan Jett, but we would kept getting asked to play more music.
Yeah.
So it's a tribute band, but then it's also a cover band. But we're changing the cover band to Emily and the Cruisers because that's just fun, as a play on words, and it's just fun. And my friend Gene Velasquez, see, I said your name, Gene. He used to get me up on stage, and he would be like, "This is Emily from Emily and the Cruisers. She's on Facebook." I was not on Facebook, so he had these mad people looking to see where I was, and I was no Emily and Cruisers. But every time he would get me up on stage when I was first learning how to sing with the band, he would get me up with Emily and the Cruisers, and I always thought that was so funny. So,
well, where do they find you on social media? Where do they find you?
Do you have a
website?
Emily Glazener on Facebook. So you look up Emily Glazener. You find me on Facebook. You see my face. I was smiling like that.
With a Ramon shirt on right now.
Instagram, it's Emmy, like EMMY, Lou, LOU, Glaze, GLAZE, Emmy Lou Glaze. I thought that was fun. And on Twitter, you can find my music with Red Iris would be with red _ Iris _ music. So red _ Iris _ music. And with Emily Glazener, it was Emily _ Glazener. And that's where you find it. And normally, if you're looking for Red Iris music, you'll find it under Emily Glazener and vice versa. So
excellent. So good catching up with you. Any other avenues?
Nice to talk to you as well.
Yeah. Any other any want to explore? Any other shout outs you want to give? Tell the people before we wind this thing down.
Oh, you know what? I'm working on this song. It's like an anthem. And it's called Spotlight. And the song that I'm working on, and I'm trying to get it recorded. I've got quite a bit of it recorded. It's a dedication to the women in my life, who I think, and as being a woman and being a single mom, I think a lot of times we take so much on ourselves, especially during COVID. My friend Celeste commented when she heard the song that, it's for women in the sense of, we take on so much. We weren't teachers, but then we had to be teachers. And, sometimes there was a discussion of like who was going to stay home. And a lot of time it was the mom who stayed home, while the dad still went to work during COVID, because that's how you had to split the time. And then there were some amazing women who were nurses, and they couldn't be with their children, and that hardship that they took on to make sure that they took care of other people. I just think there's so many things that we do in life, and I'm proud to be a woman, and I mean that, and I'm very inclusive. Like, to me, I'm singing this for every woman, for where however you feel, even in the LGBTQ plus community. I'm like, women, we need to stick together, all of us, so I feel very strongly about the song, and the hook of it is, to stand up and sing, girl, because only we tell our story. Only we can tell you. We can only tell you our story, and we can sing it to you in that kind of way. So I'm working with a lot of these people, and I wanted to talk about it because I came up with it because I have this wonderful picture. Can I show you the picture that I have?
Yeah, people on video want to see pictures.
Myself and these three women. They're just really wonderful, amazing women. And their names are Celeste Velasquez, Caroline Perez, and Dinah Burns, and just amazing women who, in their own way, took me in as a musician. With their husbands all played music with me. And when my husband died, they weren't, "Oh, you poor little thing." They were just like, "Hey, come along." And what a big thing that was, and I'm all about women supporting women. So I wanted to say something about them because I'm looking at this great picture of them, and I just adore them so much. But that's one of the songs I'm working on, and that's the song to be looking for. It's called The Spotlight. And I hope to have it up and released before the end of the summer. But I just wanted to say that moment of, building each other up is such a big deal. And so many times we tear each other down. And it doesn't get you anywhere. It might get you one ring up the ladder for now, but people don't forget what you've done, you know? So building each other up, to me, is such a big deal. And they did that to me. So I'm writing something about that. I've written something and I'm recording something about that. So that's my extra bit for you.
Yeah, once you get to a certain age, you got to help people. I remember when I was in my late teens, early 20s, when I was starting this DJ thing, I didn't step on anybody, but I really didn't help anybody. But then you realize later in life, oh, I should be helping more people, you know, reaching down and lifting people up. And the earlier you could figure that out, the better this world's going to be. Just help each other. You see, you know, somebody hurting, you try to make them feel better. And that's a beautiful thing. You do that with your music and with other things as well, you know, with your teachings and you teach those boys and teach them well and help them lead the way. I get it.
or it'd be more like, teach your children well, the fathers. I love that song.
Very good. All right.
That's better.
I guess that we can wind this thing down. Give the last words for the people. You know it. Words to live by, mantra you say every day, or just whatever pops into your head.
Oh, I've got this great hashtag. Well, I don't own it, but I'm the only person who ever uses it. I've never seen anybody else use it. Hashtag find the good where you are. Whether you're making the good or whether somebody else is making it and you find it, whether it's a bad situation, like finding that good where you are. That's why we're alive, and passing that on. So to me, find the good where you are. Even if you're in a bad situation, as a lot of people are, there's something good in there. The good PB, you realizing where you are and how do you get out. That's a good thing, figuring it out. So find the good where you are.
Well, there you have it, party people. Emily Glazener. Isn't she sweet? Isn't she the nicest lady? Oh, my goodness. It's always good to talk to her. And I encourage you to follow her on her social medias. You get to see little video snippets, great pictures of her performances, and, you know, you get to hear the good songs, too. the stuff she's making with Red Iris and on her own, and even with the Joan Hearts. I know that's a cover band, so that's not hers. So pay more attention to her original stuff. That we could support her and help her make some money, and she can make a living out of this business we call show. Because there's no business like show business. No business I know. I'm so corny on this one. My goodness. Thank you, Emily Glazener, for being a part of the What Makes You Famous podcast once again. That's it for this edition of What Makes You Famous. Now, if you, yes, you, I'm talking to you, my loyal listener, if you would like to tell your story, I encourage you to give me a call, 501-470-6386, or email info@radiowhat.com. That's it for me. It's KeysDAN, radiowhat.com, djlittlerock.com. Peace. I'm out of here.